Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. We are getting here close to the end. We only got 4 teams left in this thing for the playoffs. Unfortunately, none of those teams are any of our teams. No NFC East teams, no more Bears. So it's going to be kind of a somber mood probably here for these last couple episodes, but we still got a competition going on. And Paul has taken a big lead. Well, not a big lead. You're 6 points ahead of Randy for
Not that big.
second, but me and Greg kind of hang in the back, 13 points back. We're going to need to pick the right upsets here, I think, for me and Greg to get back in this thing after last week. But we'll get into that a little bit more in the second half. In the first half, we'll take a look at these 4 games that happened most recently, maybe get into a little bit of news. I think we have a couple things coming out from the NFC East here that we can touch on maybe from the past week. But the games that we had going down here last weekend, we had in the NFC, we had Seattle in a big blowout over the Niners, 41-6. We had the Rams in a tight, close one in overtime, 20-17 over my Bears. And in the AFC, we had the Denver Broncos beating the Bills in overtime, 33-30. And we had our only, I think, probably our only member of the entire podcast, Ben's team, the New England Patriots. He's the last man standing in our, I don't know how many people we have as part of this thing, but it's a lot that we should have more than one person standing here. But Ben's team, the Patriots, took down the Texans 28-16. In general, what did you guys think? Anything in particular you want to touch on here from these games or get into?
I was going to say with the Bills game, I'm actually I'm not going to say I feel bad for Josh Allen, but I wanted Josh Allen to win that game, especially since the Broncos now they're going to go in with a backup quarterback. I'm not saying they can't win, but they're probably not going to. It's not it's not giving the playoffs, the semifinal for the Super Bowl as much luster as it should. I'd like to see Josh Allen be in there. I think it'd be a good matchup. It'd be 2 divisional matchups if he were in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 2 evenly matched matchups, and I think that would be fantastic to watch. There's not a whole lot of major market teams left, so why don't we get some of the best teams from some of the divisions to go at it like that? I mean, I like that idea a lot. You got 2 cold weather teams, and then you got like 2.
Didn't Seattle split with the Rams this year?
Yes.
Probably.
So they would have been that would have been
where-
cool because it would have been both teams split playing each other for a total toss up. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, and I even was thinking about a ton of times about, God, Josh Allen just done this or somebody had just done that. So I can't imagine what he's going through. He was pretty emotional after the game, but I would have been a wreck after that. You know, the 49ers, I don't really fault the 49ers players that were in that game. They played as good as they could with who they had. I mean, that was a tough game to be competitive with who you had on the field right there. And I think they did as good a job as they could have. And then that last game saw one of the most miraculous throws I've ever seen in my life. I mean, we don't have to go through exactly all the different like levels of how that was improbable. All that just to literally throw a pick in the red zone, right outside the red zone in overtime. That was so anticlimactic. I can't believe it. I mean, I think he went from third quarter Trey to fourth quarter with 2 minutes left Trey from the week before. Pretty quick there between the end of regulation and overtime. But hey, it was an exciting game. And at this point, that's since all our teams are out, I want to watch good football. There's only 3 games left. Let's make it a good game.
Hey, I'll say this, throughout this entire playoffs, there has been some very good football.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think all the games have been entertaining and could have went either way in any one of those games, depending on the situation. You talk about weather in games. We're seeing that across the board. The injuries, when we got that call that whatchamacallit from the Broncos broke his ankle, I was like, what? I didn't see that. Yeah. When did that happen? And of course, they go back and kind of show the injury a little bit, and you could tell that he hobbled off. But I'm like, man, that just stinks for him, stinks for the team. But when you take a step back, to me, the loser of the week is Josh. We sit here and we praise him about the best quarterback in the league and this, that, and the other, and he goes out and has 4 turnovers. In a very winnable game that he doesn't have the weapons, and I get that, and it's just kind of a slap in the face when McDermott gets fired the 2 days after, and the guy that is creating the team gets a raise. Here's a promotion for how horrible you've done this year. Get Allen weapons. We say Josh Allen doesn't have weapons. They had the best running back in the league this year. They had a defense that was pretty good. It was banged up. It was injury prone. The O-line was injury prone. The receivers were weak, and they've been looking for them. And, the rumor is that Waddle was available, and their GM said, we're not going to give you a first-round pick in 26 for him. We can win without him. And he proved to be wrong. So, I feel bad, but it's going to be good NFC and AFC championship games, I think. There's a lot of storylines there. You look at Seattle looked dominant. They looked really good. And it's going to be interesting to see how that game plays out next week. That's going to be the game that I'm going to be keying in on. Just because they split. Yeah.
I was going to say, before you go on to another game, I was going to say, I think injury is going to be a big factor for Seattle. They just lost Charbonnet. And then who knows? I mean, Darnold hurt his oblique in practice before it even started, and he was doing a little Carson Wentzing over there on the sideline some after he had taken a couple of hits. But I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I think somebody like Jared Verse is going to be headhunting for his abdomen area.
Let's be honest. What has Sam Darnold really done in the playoffs in his career? Very little. Last week he looked great because he was managing the team. Like, just don't do turnovers is basically what it came down to. Yeah, I you'll see my pick, but I think the Rams are going to pull it together. I think Seattle's defense is great, borderline great. But I think the Rams are going to come in and put that pressure on Darnold and make him turn it over. Then again, I am 0 for my last picks. My fantasy playoff teams are horrible. I can't win a bet, so it's probably going to go the other way. What do you got going out there in Vegas, Randy? You're pretty quiet tonight.
Yeah, coming to you from Las Vegas, right across from Chippendales today. No, I mean, again, a few really good games this weekend. It sucks. I would have loved to see, I think Denver had a team. I've been preaching Denver now for 2 years. Watch that go down. The question in my head that's going on is it Peyton or is it Knicks? Obviously it's probably a combination, but Peyton's no idiot. Like, I think he could put together a decent team. I'm sorry, I still don't think the Patriots are all that. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, I know the Patriots are favored like crazy, and obviously you'd be a fool to bet against them or pick against them. But again, Sean Payton is really good. The 49ers team, I was listening to a guy today talking about the 49ers offense. You got a 32-year-old tight end with an Achilles tear. I don't know, I think it was an Achilles. You got a 29-year-old star of the offense that averaged 3.9 yards per carry this year. You got a receiver, the top receiver, that's got 800 yards on the year. There is so much to worry about the 49ers. The fact that they got this far is amazing. But they shouldn't have. They shouldn't have beat Philly last week, and they did. They shouldn't have won this. They definitely. Seattle's a totally different animal. They're playing, all year we've been talking about the team that there's just not that team, but it's been right in front of our eyes. Seattle is unreal. They've been dominant all year. They were the number 1 seed, and we just didn't see it, or we didn't want to see it. But they go in and blow out San Francisco. Like, it's hard to argue that they're not going to be. I know you guys are saying Rams are good. I just can't see them losing or beating Seattle this year. So, we'll talk about the next games next week, but It was a really good run of games. Josh Allen, yeah, again, I'm not a big fan. I was never a big fan, but your heart breaks for the city and for him. You know, that city has gotten Super Bowls taken from them, and that is the city of hope if they keep cheering for that team. But again, just like the Eagles, the fact that you get rid of that coach after this year. I mean, you can blame him for not giving weapons. I don't know. But to take that team year after year this far with really a ragtag group of receivers is just a miracle. And their defense is okay. It's not a top 10 defense this year either. Anyway, here's my
So
takes.
you weren't in the sewers of Buffalo drinking the tears of all of the Josh Allen fans out there?
No, they're not as sweet as the ones in Philadelphia. I only enjoy the sweetness of the tears. I still am getting drunk off of those tears weeks later. Honestly, I told my neighbor,
You're
he's a
an
big
ass.
Eagles fan. I said, you may got to put some blinds up on your windows because this shine, I wasn't here last week. This shine ain't going to go away till next year. I guarantee you. Grinning ear to ear in that house I live in, it's like going off like a disco ball right now.
How about them Cowboys?
Hey, I'm over it.
Gotta love it.
I'm
Randy.
over it.
Yeah, me too. I'm quitting football. I
I
might
think
not
we
watch
all
much.
need to be over it until about maybe July, maybe June, when the camps go open again.
Yeah.
June, we got the draft in Pittsburgh this year. So we got some things to look forward
I
to.
always forget about the draft. This is the first time in a while that I can't be super excited about the draft not having a super high pick. I usually
Mhm.
love the
That's
draft.
true.
This year I'm going to be like, man, this sucks.
When you get the O lineman from North Dakota State.
Yeah, yeah. That nobody's ever heard of.
Hey, you can use him this year.
We do
That
have some
seems
news.
to work well for the Eagles over the past years. Maybe we can catch some magic.
Yeah, there you go. Got to get that magic. No doubt that you will. You had a good year. Yeah, I hate to say it to you, but you do. You got a coach. You got a quarterback that's
Oh
got
yeah,
some talent.
I'm
And
not upset. I mean, I'm disappointed about the loss, but not
yeah,
upset in the slightest bit. We
I've
were so far ahead of where we were supposed to be, and we won so many more games than we should have, just based on luck and just incredible situations at the end of games. And it felt like it was going to happen again, to be honest. I mean, that play was amazing at the end of regulation. And then, we stopped them in overtime, and looks like we're driving for the win and falls apart. But it was a heck of a year. It was a heck of a ride. Definitely a heck of a ride, to say the least.
You know,
It was,
one
I think the main difference between this year and last year is what you did in the fourth quarter. You lost
yeah.
so many close games last year, and this year you
Yeah.
won every single one of those. And so I'm going to say what you say about my team. I'm not buying it for next year. And mostly it's
You know,
because of your conference. Conference, I think, is shut up, Randy, is still going to be the most competitive, I think, in the league. I think overall, I think it's going to be the most well balanced
I don't disagree.
conference.
Randy's on
know,
delay. He's in Vegas.
yeah. One thing that
I
blows
thought he
my
was just
mind.
frozen because he's staring across the
No,
street.
Go ahead,
one thing
Randy.
that blows my mind this year is just the razor thin margins and talents on a team. You know, you take a team like the Giants. They lost 3 games this year because they missed field goals. You know, what would that team look like if they would have won those 3 games and really tried at the end of the year? Or a team, you know, even
8 to
like the
10
Dallas.
wins, man. 8 to 10
I,
wins,
10
just like
wins.
everybody
Yeah.
said.
But I even say a team like Dallas, where again I brought this up before, but if we would have beat the Eagles the first time in that tight game, and we would have actually put our starters in Week 17, we had a chance to make it the playoffs. My point is, it just crazy how much the little changes, the little things, actually affect the entire year on every team. You know, I just don't think it takes a lot for the worst team to make it to playoff contention. And you look at this year, who's in the final 4 compared to last year, it's glaring that, you know, the fact that a team like Buffalo or Kansas, very little changes. What are the Eagles?
Kansas.
I mean, again, but for a couple of plays in that Eagles game or a play, the Eagles would be in this mix. So it's razor thin margins we're talking about in these games that are deciding which team is good and bad. And it's like, it's so easy. You know, the Bears did everything right in the fourth quarter this year. They were good. Dallas did everything wrong in the fourth quarter this year. We were bad. But it's like very little has to change that narrative. Blows me away.
No, you're right. I think what it comes down to is like when Seattle traded DK, everyone was like, "What are you doing? Are you dumb?" Like that made their team better. You know, it's just as simple as picking up a OC, picking up a DC. You know, and it could change like that, and that's why they always say cherish the moments. You know, enjoy it while you're there because you may never get back. And I feel spoiled as a fan. I think Kyle posted something the other day after he was leaving the game that all these young kids, all they know is victory. You know, it's true. I said to myself, man, I feel defeated as a Philly fan because of 1 week of bad news. You know, we're all disgruntled because we didn't get Bo Bichette. We're pissed off because we lost to the 49ers. You know, we want to blame our OC. We want to blame Jalen this and Jalen that, you know, and it's like, take a step back. It's like, wow, we've had a pretty good run over the last 20 years. This has been great. I mean, look at Randy. Randy hasn't been to a conference championship game in 30 years.
No, I've never been because I wasn't even a fan back then. It's crazy. But yeah, here I am plugging away.
There you go.
So one of the things I noticed, though, after the Bears game is similar to what happened in Carolina. Everybody in the stadium still stood there and was cheering on as all the players left the field. And in Philadelphia, you thought if like gun laws didn't exist, all your players would have been executed right there on the field.
Absolutely.
I don't know how to take that.
I don't know how to say this, man. I've never, ever seen Bears Stadium that electric, man. From the national anthem right on through to the end. I mean, like, that place was rocking. It was awesome. It was really awesome.
But like all the fans stayed and they cheered their team after the loss and sat there.
Yep.
Same thing. And Philadelphia literally does the opposite. Like you're
okay. That's enough Philly bashing for tonight, Paul. We've done enough. Listen, it was frustration. I was not there. Kyle was there. We'll let Kyle talk about this one. I was not there. I was frustrated. I may have kicked my dog, but she's fine. She's good. She's good to go. Took her to the vet, no injuries.
The SPCA showing up at your door tomorrow.
Yeah. I'm kidding, everyone. I love my dog. It was the cat.
Until it swallows something again.
Yeah, let's not have any more vet bills. Woo. No, I mean we were frustrated. We were. I wasn't there. You know, I'll let Kyle and Jim talk about that when they were there. But it's been a long season. It's been a long season of wow, something doesn't seem right with this offense. Like, what's going on here? Are we having a problem? Is Jalen not doing something? Is our OC not doing something? Why are we not being creative with the play calling? Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And we as fans get blinded by, oh, but we're winning. Oh, we got a good record. Oh, we got 11 wins. Oh, we made the playoffs. Back-to-back NFC East champions.
Oh, my God,
we get
Greg.
excited about those things.
Greg,
you do understand this is everything that we told you from like
all year.
Listen, week 1 to like week 12.
But we get blinded.
We were preaching.
And it was like
we had a Giants fan on here who said they were going to have 10 wins this year. Like that's fandom. That's what happens. We get blinded. But yeah, we
called out that
need
blindness.
to be made, and we have the off season. Exactly, and that's fine. You did. You were right. I was wrong.
Thank you.
I can admit that.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you. You were talking about it earlier. How much of a reset do you get? You were saying the Bills need a wide receiver. Do the Eagles have any available in the offseason?
So
especially anybody that asked for a trade apparently every other week.
Yeah.
From what is now written.
Greg, let me ask, Greg, I saw one play, and it was just one play. But it was a play that AJ was supposed to be blocking to run, and he literally didn't do anything.
Stop blocking.
Like, it's different.
He's frustrated.
It's different for me. They're asking about AJ, obviously. It's different for me if it's like he's trying, it's just not happening. But does that change at all for you right now? To their point, is he on the trade list, the cut list?
Yeah. So like you got to look at it two different ways. You can look at it from the fan way, and the fan dumb way is he is a top 5, top 10 receiver in the league when he's playing and playing well. And no one can dispute that. Then
Nope.
you got to look at the management money side of things that say there's a $45 million cap hit if he gets traded. Or, yeah, so are you going to eat that cap hit? But then you're like, he asked to be traded 4 times, apparently, 4 times in season, and he's really frustrated. There was times where he was happy. There was times where he's not happy. I don't run that team. I don't pretend that I run that team, but I think eventually he will have to be traded. But I don't know how you get around that $45 million cap hit. Philly has, over the last 20 some years, has never said we're going to sit this year out. We're not going to go for it. They just don't do that. They're going to put the best team on the field that they can, and they're going to try to win the NFC East, and they're going to try to win the NFC championship, and they're going to try to go to the Super Bowl. That's just what they're going to do. I don't recall like a reset year. Even our reset years, they still go for it. And that's what I'm like having a hard time, because there are a lot of unrestricted and restricted free agents on this team. Right now, our money is all on offense, and that the tables are going to turn because we're going to have to start paying our defensive players. So
Some of these young
within
guys
that,
are going to be ready to
so
get
within
collect.
that, you are technically going to have to do a reset. What are you going to get right now for AJ?
Well,
Second round pick, if
his
that.
stock
You're
definitely
not going to
went
get
down
much
this
for
year.
him, and you're going to have a $45 million cap hit.
I don't know. He's not that old yet. I mean, he's 29.
29.
He's, like you said, there's no argument that he's not a great wide receiver. There's nobody that's going to argue against the talent. There's a question about motivation, maybe a little bit,
Agreed.
and attitude, but the talent's
I
there.
also
The age
think,
is there. I think
Yeah.
he'd be an
But
attractive guy
listen,
in the trade market.
I hear you loud and clear, but look what happened to Des Bryant. It wasn't even a trade thing. No one picked him up. Like, you take away this year from AJ
No one
Brown.
picked him
this
up
year,
because he didn't catch it. He didn't catch it.
you take away this year from AJ Brown. This year, and I would agree, there's a lot of value there. There's market value. This year, problem for the quarterback, underachieving by a lot. I don't know. I just don't see the market there right now for a
Agreed.
big trade deal. I think, I think maybe they get something late rounder. I don't know. Go ahead.
If he does leave, he's not going to bring in a ton of value. We know that, but the problem is this is now weighing on our OC situation. What OC is going to come in here and not know what you have?
So here's
I think Diana Rossini today said this is not an attractive job. And it's like, wow, how can you say that? But to me, it is attractive, but also maybe not, because you may get fired if you don't produce. So it's like we're having even a hard time getting Mike McDaniels to even commit to an interview. Like, we're interviewing Mike Kafka. We're not interviewing big names yet. Like, Brian Dable's the biggest name that we've interviewed so far. Zach Robinson, like the guy from Houston, the OC from Houston. Like, these are not flashy names. Mike McDaniel says, we'll see. Maybe I can interview with you. But it's like, I don't know what type of player we're smelling around in the SEC for OCs, apparently. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think the landscape of the NFC is going to change drastically. I think San Francisco is going to absolutely be horrendous next year. They just lost Robert Saleh. What happened the last time they lost Robert Saleh as their DC? They went from the best defense to, I think, 25th, 26th defense. Their defense is going to be atrocious next year because he's gone. Giants are going to get better. I can't dispute that. I don't know. Jim Bob Cooter is not a name that is splashy to me. That may be our OC next year. I don't know. We got to figure out what's going on. And I think those OCs are not going to commit until they know who
he had
they
a pretty
have.
good run in Detroit for a couple years at one point.
He did, and he's done some things in Indy. You know, there's no doubt about that. He's a decent OC. I'm not bashing him, but like, I don't know.
Nobody
I
named
want
Jim
some.
Bob
He doesn't move
Cooter
the
needs
needle.
to be in Philadelphia. Yeah, that's not going to work in Philadelphia. It just doesn't. I don't.
No.
It's
They're egging his house on day one. They don't even need to see him coach a game.
Oh, Jim
Well,
Bob Cooter.
listen,
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Speaking of OCs, Dak Prescott is the only quarterback in the NFC to maintain his coach and his offensive coordinator this year. I think there's some value to
Oh
that.
wow, good for you, Dak.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I hope
what does that
everybody
get
on
you?
the team says the exact same. I'll say it again. I hope
Well, the
everybody. I
defensive
hope Jerry Jones lives
Eberflus is
forever,
gone. Sorry.
and all your players, they all retire
Poor,
there.
poor Diggs got released today. I felt bad for him.
I wouldn't be surprised if he
From
ends
the
up back there,
Packers?
though. Yeah. It was
Really?
going to cost them $14.5 million if they kept him, and he ain't worth anywhere close to that
No.
right now. So I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back there, but it ain't gonna be for that number.
Injury.
Greg, the one thing I think
Suck.
about though is like a receiver like Cooper Kupp or somebody like that with Devontae Smith. Does that not sound like a breath of fresh air from what you've had this year? Like, you know, somebody that's a little older, a little cheaper, or a little younger, a little cheaper, but like, I don't know. I feel like they need a breath of something new in Philadelphia.
So it all depends, and again, like if this is all tied to the OC and what you want to bring in and what type of offense do you want to run? Do you want to run traditional West Coast offense? Do you want to like what are you going to run? And it all depends on who we bring in. Are we going to redo the offense? Or are we going to keep what we have and just change it up? Like I don't know, and I'm not down there, and I can't tell you that Jalen is the smartest guy. I can't tell you that Jalen's not the smartest guy. I don't know. I can just tell you what my eyes are seeing. And I think Jalen has committed to being more of a pocket passer. And in my beliefs, that is not his strong suit. I think the fear of taking off and getting a 15, 20, 30-yard run is what makes him a special quarterback. And throughout the years, we've seen him play timid. We've seen him play reckless. And we've also seen him play a mix of both. And I think that is his sweet spot. So I don't know what is going on. I don't know if he's told them he doesn't want to run as much or if they're trying to quote unquote save him for the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not down there. So I got to believe what the team and what the coaches are saying and just hope that it clicks and hope we get an OC that works well with Nick. And, you know, hopefully we can pull this back together for next year. You know, it's in the record. The proof, as Randy would say, the proof is in the pudding. A couple years ago.
Is that what he actually says? Because I feel like he got that one wrong somehow when
Good quote. So, again, jumping ship off the Eagles here for a second, but I looking at the Giants, and like I was talking to one of my buddies today, but it is interesting. They could be a very interesting team next year. Again, I think we'd all say a very injury-prone team at best, but Neighbors back, Scattermoo back, a coach that's actually pretty proven. I think could be very interesting. What do you guys think? Are you guys worried at all about the Giants?
Not that I'm worried. I think Jackson Dart is a great player or could be a great player, but I also think Jackson Dart is very injury prone. And all it takes is one injury. And you saw what he did this year. I mean, he played 10 games and was in the blue tent 5 out of those 10 games. I mean, I don't know. I think there is a mix that he's going to have to deal with. I don't know who their OC is. I'm assuming Harbaugh was bringing in the guy from Baltimore who had success with Lamar. But they also did not have success with Lamar, and Lamar had a lot of injuries. So, I mean, that's what the game is based off of anymore is can your quarterback stay healthy and can he produce?
Yeah, I saw Jackson Dart protect himself less than Jaden Daniels, and that's not too freaking good. There's no discipline from the kid himself, and I want to see who the offensive coordinator is because he needs somebody that's going to be able to protect him because he can't protect himself. And good Lord, Cam Scatterboo can't either. So it could be over really quick again. And they could be looking at 2-7 with those guys literally banging their heads against things. I think pretty quickly. But I mean, they are committed to it. I mean, they're committed to Harbaugh like LSU commits to their coaches. They're on the hook for quite a stash there. Yeah, I mean, all the control and $100 million, and the person's name is not Bill Belichick. And I'm not saying it deserves to be right now, but I mean that's like a Bill Belichick asking price a couple years ago. I mean that's ridiculous.
By the way, how interesting would it be if Mr. Belichick decided to move to Orchard Park, New York, and coach the Buffalo Bills? I think
I don't think his body would be able to stand up to the cold.
You might be right.
Actually, he might. But he might not have to. The new Highmark, isn't it going to be dome?
Dome
or inside outside?
Yeah. Retractable roof.
Yeah. So maybe he won't have to.
Which I
but
think
otherwise,
is a crime.
Yeah, those cut off sleeves are not going to work for him anymore.
You know what I think would be awesome if Mike Tomlin went there.
Well,
Mike destroyed the Steelers year after year. That would be awesome.
Tell you what, there's a lot of good coaches out there after all these firings right now.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see where the musical chairs end up. And we're running a little late here. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be back soon. We'll take a look at this competition. We'll wrap things up.
What up, everybody? The Beard is here. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, the law offices of William P. Harrington. Credit card litigation, Chapter 7 bankruptcy, estate planning, estate administration, guardianships, they do it all. As a member, listener, follower, supporter of our network, they are offering you a 15% discount on these services. So if you are in the Pennsylvania or New Jersey area, schedule your free consultation today.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening. Just a few quick reminders for everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. And check out our fellow podcaster, Jim Montgomery, with This Day in Philly Sports History. Thank you.
All right, we are back. We'll take a look here. I guess we'll take a look at quickly. We can talk about the two games left here that we have coming up, which are going to be the first game of the weekend on Sunday is going to be New England at the Denver Broncos, and then the second game of the day is going to be the LA Rams at the Seattle Seahawks. In our internal competition, we're doing this little confidence pool, all assigning numbers from 1 to 13 throughout these games. And if we win the game, we get the number of points we assign to it. Right now, Paul is leading this thing at 61 points after a big week last week. Randy, not too far behind, still within striking distance at 55. Me and Greg are going to have to pull some upsets here at 48 points apiece. Paul, you're in the lead. You get to pull first here. What do you got for us as far as predictions and game analysis on these two games left?
So I'll start with the Rams and the Seahawks. I'm probably not going to give a huge confidence to any of them. So I got my 3 out there. I think I'm going to give the Rams that 3. I know it's going to be a rough place to play up in Seattle, but with some of the recent injuries I kind of hit on a little bit in the first half, I think that may even the playing field a little bit. Rams also are my Super Bowl pick anyway, so I do have them. But this is a matchup that I really want to see of any of the two teams that were in the playoffs. This is, I think, on paper, the best game to watch. Like Randy mentioned, they split earlier this year. A lot of, I wouldn't say necessarily star power, but just a lot of power that's going to create a lot of buzz, I think, for two non-big market teams for sure. So I'll take the Rams at 3. Rams at 3. As far as the other game, the Patriots and the Broncos, again, I wanted to see the Bills in this game. I think that would have been a fantastic matchup. Everyone keeps hyping up Jared Stidham, but when it all gets settled, the guy in the locker room that's putting on the pads is still Jared Stidham. So I'm not convinced that he is built for this. I know Tebow came in and won a playoff game for the Broncos many moons ago, but I don't think this is going to be a repeat of that. Their defense looks great, but somehow the Patriots defense, there's nothing wrong with it this year, but during the playoffs, their defense has kind of woken up a little bit as well. So I think the Patriots are going to win this game, and I give this one the confidence of 6. That's going to leave, just foreshadowing, next week. Whoever comes out of that Rams Seahawks game is going to get my 13 right there, my highest confidence. And that's kind of how I wanted it, because I don't think anybody in the AFC had anything for anybody in the NFC. There are about 3 or 4 teams in the NFC I would have taken against anybody in the AFC playoffs this year. The playoffs. Playoffs. So I think they're both going to be great games. And again, I appreciate NFL making the times 3 o'clock and 6:30, so it doesn't have to ruin my Monday.
I appreciate that too, actually, very much so. Me being a go to bed early Sunday night guy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my picks. Paul, you are so predictable. I knew you were gonna take the Rams, and I knew you were gonna take the Patriots. So I'm going to go in the flip side to that, and I am going to take Seattle with a confidence of 9 because I have a 9 left. And I'm going to take the Broncos with a confidence of 2 because I have a 2 left. And I am going to gain 11 points on you this week and cut the lead to next to nothing.
That's just your fandom talking again.
Yeah, it is, totally. So I think it's going to be 2 really good games. I think we are selling the Broncos defense short. I looked at that line, and I think they're going to spin that. Sean Payton's a hell of a coach, and I think he's going to spin that line, spin whatever he can, and I think it's going to be a close game. I do think the Patriots probably will pull that game out, but I am going to have – it's going to be a good game to watch. And I think Seattle can win this game. I like the Rams. I like the Rams offense. Seattle's defense is tough though, so it's going to be another good game. I would definitely take I look at the over under, Mike, and to me that screams under, but I've been wrong the last couple of weeks on all of this stuff. I see 47.5, and I'm like, I don't know with Seattle's defense if they can put up 47 points between the two of them. So that's my picks. Randy, what are you looking at out in Vegas? What do you got?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the Rams is the dumbest pick in the world in this game. I think Seattle has proven to be an animal. I don't remember what my numbers were, Mike, if you could help me out a little bit, but I picked Seattle, and I'm taking Denver, hopefully to close my lead with Paul. I just don't think the Rams are going to have an answer for everything Seattle's throwing at them. I know Charbonnet's hurt, but they do have Dexter Lawrence, an ex-Cowboy, who is phenomenal. They also have Kenneth Waller III, who's not too shabby himself. Waller III, Walker, whatever his name, Kenneth Walker III. Walker, whatever. We don't need to correct my English again. But no, I'm taking. What are my numbers, Paul? What did I take him, or Mike? What did I take him at?
You use
Kenneth
Seattle
Walter
at 3,
III.
and you use 7 on New England.
That's what we're sticking
So
with.
you got 10
Seattle at
possible
3,
points there for yourself this week.
New England is 7.
Hey, Mr. Producer,
So-
can I get a thumbs up there in the background? Did I take Seattle as my Super Bowl pick? All right, that's important to me
Thumbs up.
picking here. So I thought so. So obviously I'm going with Seattle over the Rams on that one.
What are you doing?
That's what
Sitting here watching
that's what
all
I believe
these
will
guys.
happen there.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That is gold.
That was awesome.
That is gold.
That was really fantastic. So
Randy
live from
literally is
Vegas,
watching dudes.
live from
What I wanna
Vegas.
know-
He's
hold
getting
on.
harassed. And
I want to know if they were like if they were talking about him watching all of us on the screen,
us or the
watching everything
Chippendales
across the street.
Yeah. Yes.
I think it's Chippendales, guys. I got to be honest
You've
with
literally got the entire Vegas Strip, and where do you put yourself? You put yourself right on a park bench, right across from the Chippendales. You weirdo.
you. Weirdo.
You
Okay,
deserve
buddy.
whatever happened right there, Randy.
Sorry, guys. I had a couple of drunk guys
Did
walk
they
up to
offer
me
you a
there.
job? You were staring so much they offered you a job
Long
on the
story.
B squad.
Hold on.
All right, so anyway,
sorry.
I got Seattle at a 10, and I'm going with Denver at a 3. So those will be my picks there. Randy, you got anything you want to give to us here to get us out of here, or are we done here?
No, he is the dumb shit, I think. So
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
done.
that's just
That's our
about
dumb
it.
shit.
That was some
Randy and the
pretty
dumb
Chippendales will
shit
be our
today.
dumb shit for the night. We will be back next week with only one game left to talk about. Almost wrapped up here for the NFC East show. Thank you, everybody. We will be back soon.
See ya.
God, I love him.